Welcome, everyone, to the Onward VR Master League. I am your host, Monorchid, and I'm joined today by my co-caster, Theta.
Good evening.
We are excited to be bringing you this Murphy's Maniacs versus Prestige matchup, Season 11, Week 3. Pretty exciting stuff. Haven't been able to cast with you, it feels like forever, Theta. So this should be a good one to come back to form on.
It has been a minute.
And these are two pretty hype teams as well. Both bronze, but doing really well for themselves. Powerful teams, and there's a lot of hype around this match in general, isn't there?
Yeah, and technically Prestige is rated as Diamond right now. I think that might just be an artifact of the ranking system and the fact that we haven't reached Week 3 for a lot of teams. But yeah, I think technically they are considered bronze, but both of them with tons of promise and potential for sure.
I guess that's true. Yeah, it's in kind of this weird flux where some of these newer teams jumping straight from bronze to diamond, like you said, but also didn't 404 jump over to like master?
Yeah. I think there's been a couple teams now like that.
Yeah, it's just kind of in a weird place. For any of you newer teams, a little bit worried about what kind of matchups you're going to run into. While you might be considered quote unquote master or diamond, you can still see that the MMR holds true. They're still facing, effectively other bronze teams or silver, whatever you are. So don't worry about that one. It will even out here as everyone finishes out their 3 games when the MMR is totally figured out at the start of the season. It's just kind of a weird quirk of our system, but don't worry, it's coming. It's always funny too. The teams are like, we're number 1, woo! All right, let's jump into the bands. What do we got here, Theta?
Okay, so Murphy's Maniacs are home, and they ban Bazaar.
Bazaar. Good old Bazaar. And what do we got for band 2?
Prestige is banning Sand.
So do you have any thoughts on these bands here?
I have not watched a ton of footage of these teams. Again, we're only in the 3rd week, so there's not a lot of footage to review. So take these as barely educated guesses. But looking at their past matches, I think Murphy's is banning for strength because Prestige does have a very high win percentage on Bazaar. When I looked, it was 65% round win rate on Bazaar. And the other one, I think Prestige likely just doesn't like playing on Sand, or they feel weak on it, because the last time they had a casted match, they also banned Sand. It's also just a newer map. People have less experience on it, even these newer teams. So it makes sense. You're seeing a lot of Sand bans lately.
I'm going to be honest. Sand is one of those maps where you either get it or you don't. You know, there's no real in between. If you don't practice it, you don't get it, your team doesn't excel at it, you tend to get smashed no matter what rank you are. You know, all the way from bronze up to master, you know, these teams are showing, you know, they either like it or they don't.
Agreed. Yeah, it's just a very polarizing map, like you said. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of close matches on Sand. It's just, you know, blowout one way or another in most cases.
Yeah, definitely a different style from most Onward maps, I would say, but going for map 1 here, we're actually going to be doing USS Quest, the other custom map in the pool. This is a pretty interesting map. It's by Evolution. If you didn't get it from all these Evolution shipping containers, I mean, it's hard to, it's hard to not notice. So they're so colorful and all over the place, but do you have any thoughts on this map and maybe why they picked it or any of that kind of stuff? You definitely played this one more than me.
Yeah, my speculation, again, just barely educated guess here. I think it's just because Murphy's, they do have an emphasis on more aggressive plays. They're the kind of team that I think likes to play on maps like Cargo. So if you have this map in the pool and not Cargo, it makes sense that you would pick that. That would just be my guess.
It definitely has a lot of similarities to Cargo. It's very tight. You can see the enemy very quickly. And there's a couple kind of similar flank routes. While it's not 1-to-1 or anything, I think the red lane kind of reminds me of the tunnel. You go down it. It's a pretty good flank route. It can get you almost behind the enemy, but at the same time, you're stuck there. And if the enemy tries to check you on it, you are often really, really kind of caught out there. And, you know, you get fragged, you get flashed, or you just have somebody pop over the top of one of these concrete blocks and they just shoot you. And you can't do too much about it if you're not really, really prepared yourself.
Yeah, agreed. It's very just, not to sound bad or anything, but it's just very linear. You know exactly where the other team is going to be spawning, and they know exactly where you're going to be spawning, and it's just, let's meet up somewhere on the map and fight. There's not much in the way of flanking, and you have the catwalk, and then you have the red lane, which are sort of flanky, but even then you're just going to be facing off. So lots and lots of neutral angles. And there's also kind of a no man's land through the middle. There's some cover, some obstacles there, but you see teams kind of avoid the central areas for the most part because it's just so easy to get killed there.
Right. I definitely agree with you there. There's been some interesting matches that I've seen of late on this map where teams kind of stack one side or the other, and that includes the Volk side as well. And when Marsoc can kind of be attuned to that and see where Volk is kind of setting up, they can take advantage by going for a bit of a flank, you know, go down that kind of little side tunnel on the western side where it kind of dips down and you got some ramps, or go through red, or even there's some kind of sneaky routes through the center where you can kind of get pretty close in the boxes and get an angle on some defenders. Kind of like you said, there's a lot of those neutral angles and spots where you're going to be exposed to somebody who's doing that. So I think that there is some kind of like tactical depth beyond what is, you know, it looks like a really simple map, right? But just like Cargo, you do have those opportunities for those spicy plays.
Couldn't agree more.
Should be starting somewhat soon here, just waiting on the last few members to jump in here. But what we got now, Murphy's Maniac side, we have Murphy the Maniac. Ugh. The captain of Murphy's Maniacs, Ace of Spades 122, Tricky Silent, Limboski, Captain Catmint. And for Prestige, we got JX Keller, Regret, Dr. Dangle, and Lunch Lady 69. Waiting on the last member from them as well. So we should be getting going here shortly. I'm going to jump into a quick intermission, and once they are all ready to go and get started, we'll jump right into the action. So I'll see you guys shortly. Stay tuned.
Okay.
All right, short little intermission there, folks. We are getting started here. Interesting start as well. Prestige go ahead and getting started with 4, maybe due to the timing. Not quite sure, but looks like we might get some quick confrontation between Captain Catmint and the opposition of Regret and Dr. Dangle at the far end here. Again, this red tunnel, very, very dangerous. You can see already that he is going kind of crouched here to try and stay as hidden as possible, allow him to move up here and maybe get a nice angle onto Dr. Dangle and Regret before they would expect him to be like halfway down the lane there. As for the rest of the team here, we can already see the rest of Murphy's Maniacs just kind of filing along here, moving along the western side of this boat here. A nice 3-man team watching side angles, letting Limboski clear the way, moving forward here. And it's going to be tough for Prestige as there's quite a little gap here. And if Limboski can make that move forward before JX Keller can get into a position to cover it, he wouldn't be in a great spot for this assault onto him.
Yeah, you can see Murphy's really taking their time to clear angles. Oh, shots are already ringing out. Murphy takes out Regret and downs Lunch Lady.
Doing really well right off the start here. Gets caught out by Dr. Dangle. Limboski moving up, just barely making it past there. Got a kill of his own. Dr. Dangle picking up Catmint. The side red route flank is out, but Tricky Silent is near objective. Dr. Dangle doing his best to defend that, but Murphy's Maniacs takes him out, and they will grab their first point.
What an ending. Dr. Dangle pulled in 4 on that round. It almost looked like he was going to get the squad wipe, and I think he had, I'd have to look at the replay, but I think he had 1v3 towards the end, and he had one resable teammate, but in a very dangerous place for a res, so made sense he didn't go for it. Almost with the heroic comeback there with the 4v5 to begin with.
Very much agree with you there. He did really well defending from a really precarious spot there. He didn't have time to really do any flanks or any fancy maneuvers. He had to just fight his way out, make sure they didn't cap. If they just left Tricky alone there, he was in the container where I believe you can cap through the wall there. Sure looks like it. So, you know, if he wasn't being an aggressive defender as the last man up, they probably would have got capped on.
Yep, that was a tough position for him to be in, but he was doing a good job of controlling the most important crosses right in front of the objective. I think as long as you have visibility into that purple container, you're pretty safe. They can come around from that catwalk and surprise you if they stay low, I suppose, but as a last person, that's pretty much the best spot you can hang out in.
Wonder what's going on with Prestige here. We're still going in with 4 members.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Jump into round 2 here and just see how these teams stack up against once. I'm just gonna stop while I'm behind. All right, let's see. Ace of Spades here, kind of an interesting position, just kind of hanging over the edge here, trying to catch anybody coming around the corner. Everyone's kind of looking low when they go down that little ramp area, but he might be able to catch somebody off guard. Rest of Prestige moving up pretty slow here, just trying to catch any aggressive pushes from Murphy's Maniacs, but none will be coming. We already have some kind of frags raining from the sky here, trying to catch a push from Prestige, but by holding back, playing cautious, using the full 6 minutes to their advantage, they will be able to stay alive and not have to risk getting hit by a frag.
Yeah, I think Prestige is being very, very careful because they're starting with a 4v5 disadvantage. And it makes sense. They don't want to just rush out and lose even one person because a 4v5 isn't fun, but a 3v5 is a serious problem. So I think they're just trying their best to find somebody who's getting peaky on defense so they can even it up without having to take a loss.
Definitely agree with you there. Maybe just hoping that Murphy's Maniacs gets antsy, pushes forward, get that kill, and then they can use that that movement to get some aggression going without as many angles being watched.
Yeah, the only concern I would have on Prestige side is JX Keller and Lunch Lady are right next to each other and one well-placed Volt Grenade. Now, Keller's moving away now, but if you are stacked up like that in the center, that's prime nade territory.
Definitely agree with you there. Dr. Dangle here getting pretty close as well. Getting some of these angles watched, and I might see a push out of him anytime now. See a little bit of peeking as well over on red lane, but neither player willing to go far enough forward that they would see one another. Tricky and JX Keller very, very close. Lasers passing over each other, but not quite catching. I think maybe this box just slightly in the way while he's crouched there. Dr. Dangle, though, coming out there, gun up while standing. might expose themselves to the likes of Tricky. Smoke coming out as well, so we could see some kind of push coming anytime as well.
Yeah, I think Prestige is starting to feel like, well, they're playing a disciplined defense. We can't really keep on going with this strategy.
JX Keller just barely making it across the opening here. Lembowski putting fire down upon him and forcing him to heal himself, but he will make it across there. And Murphy's Maniac trading fire with Dr. Dangle coming out ahead. JX Keller getting the refrag though, evening this up as much as it can be. Lunch Lady taking out Lembowski. A lot of pre-fire coming from JX Keller here as he continues his push forward here. Very cautious, very measured from this team. They're not just rushing ahead as soon as they get the kill. They're trying to stay alive as much as possible.
It's great to see that kind of discipline from newer teams. You can see just the standard of play is going up all the time.
Captain Catmint checking red lane. Regret pushing up though, but it looks like they're going to just miss each other. Lunch Lady getting in position to possibly be able to just jump in here and sneak a cap off them if they're able to take out some of these last defenders in Captain Catmint and Tricky. Ooh, Lunch Lady caught out by Captain Catmint. Nice defensive position from him. Ace of Spades picking up Keller at the same time. And just like that, the main push has been destroyed. Regret is the last one up in red lane. Moving really slow though, so Captain Catmint definitely doesn't have any idea that he's there. He should be able to get a kill right off the start there and be in a good position to force the defenders to run out, try to stop the cap, and maybe be able to pull this one for his team.
And the trade. Well, it was evened up there for a minute. They had it down to a 3v3, but they just started losing people after that, and then the round slipped through their fingers, unfortunately.
Really good last man spot to be in, though. It just, unfortunately for him, Captain Catmint decided to come around that just at that time, check that red lane, make sure no one was coming through the backside when nothing was happening on the front. Really good move from him to make sure that that flank wasn't coming, especially in a moment of kind of calm when nothing's happening. You always have to kind of wonder, what is the enemy team doing? And he did a really good job there of that.
Just in general, I was impressed by that defense because, as we were talking about at the beginning, this is a very small linear map. It does tend to be played and preferred by more aggressive teams, but they were playing it smart there. They knew they had an advantage, I imagine, going in because it's 4v5 to start with. So they say, hey, let's just lock it down. Let's make sure that advantage gets magnified as much as possible. And they force Prestige into their defense by doing that. So well played by Murphy's Maniacs on defense.
Definitely agree with you there. Prestige attack, though, definitely very good as well. They had such a good start there. Able to even out that pick at the beginning by Murphy, and then get a couple of picks there and really even it out, giving them a really good chance towards that objective. It's just some clutch kills from Murphy's Maniacs, able to pull that one back and bring it into their favor again.
Looks like for the third round in a row, 4v5. I hope this gets sorted out.
Yeah, as you can see, it's definitely a tough place to fight from.
Yeah, in this game, it's just losing even one person early in a round is tough, and to start with that, it's just brutal.
This is a map where I really want to have all five too. I do not want to get caught with only 4 and having to defend these really tight angles. But speaking of tight, Lunch Lady, very nice shot onto Murphy all the way across the deck there, able to down her Ace of Spades under the cover of some smoke, able to get that revive. Now Lunch Lady is going to have to move up, come from a different angle here to make sure that he is still able to cover his angle there. Nice catch onto Murphy yet again, taking her out for the second time there. Lembowski trading fire, using his machine gun to good effect there. Dr. Dangle picking up Captain Catmint. Lunch Lady and Ace of Spades coming around the corner here. Lunch Lady coming out on top here. Regret going down at the same time from that suppressive fire Lemboski here. Lunch Lady getting very, very aggressive here, knowing that there's probably only a couple left from Murphy's Maniacs, and Lemboski is going to have no idea of this flank, and Lunch Lady will take that one.
I think Lunch Lady cleaned up on that round. He just kept picking people off. But like I was saying at the very beginning, that center is... it gets spicy in there. It's kind of a no man's land. And if you push in there and you don't have a lot of cover, or at least covering fire, it gets ugly pretty quick, as we just saw.
Definitely true. And Prestige putting a point on the board, showing that they can still contend with the 4 members. And really, this match still could go either way. Either of these teams definitely could take it. Murphy's Maniacs is going to have to put a lot of effort to win this one. Prestige isn't going to just let it go under the rug easily.
Yeah, you could even argue that a team that's down a 4v5 has a slight psychological advantage because they're just so motivated to fight back. Like, they will fight for tooth and nail for every player. So even though it's a numerical advantage, for certain teams, I think it might almost fire them up to play harder. I don't know if Prestige is that kind of team, but I could certainly imagine it.
Definitely would be very prestigious to win from a 4v5.
Get out.
I'm leaving. I'm sorry. I'm going.
All right, cast is over, guys. We can't go any further.
I'll just go down here. Where I belong. For that one. All right. Well, looks like we're about to start the next round up here, see what these teams can muster. Last minute planning from the likes of Prestige.
A couple of us Onward left, pushing red, just making a presence. We don't necessarily have to push all the way up. I just want them to know that there's a bunch of us there.
So it looks like they're trying to get some good distraction, make their 4-man team appear as if it's more by putting tons and tons of fire down, keep them guessing at where they possibly could be. Ooh, Lunch Lady picking up tricky there. Dr. Dangle just about to get in the line of fire Lemboski, but he is able to pull up and away due to the slight angle of the deck there.
And that's exactly what you want if you have a 4v5 disadvantage. You get that 1 kill without losing anybody, so not a trade or anything. Now it feels much more winnable to the team with the 4v5 advantage at the beginning.
Right.
No, I don't.
They also they make their plans around a 4-man team versus a 5-man team. So Murphy's Maniacs is going to have to do a little bit of rotation and, double cover from one player to make up for the loss of their one player that had a specific angle to watch. Definitely the calm before the storm here. We can see Regret and Dangle pushing forward slowly. Captain Catman, though, just kind of holding steady, and you can see that he has a C4 on the wall here, hoping no one sees that as they come around, able to get that quick kill, and then he can just pop over the top, get the confirm, and maybe grab the second player that might be behind him. We'll have to see if Dr. Dangle will spot out the C4 here, and at the current moment, he's not in an angle to do so. Every so often he is actually. I saw it once while he was kind of bouncing here and there, looking for that peek from Captain Catman that doesn't look like it's going to be coming.
Yeah, and I'm seeing Lunch Lady and Keller holding back. Lunch Lady was watching his tablet intently. I'm assuming they're trying to just time this attack. And
Yeah, they were
slowly
talking,
creeping up.
Yeah, they were talking a lot about some kind of like aggressive push with a lot of cover fire and distraction. So wouldn't be surprised to see that from them. The flash coming out from Captain Catman. Dr. Dangle just firing forward, hoping to catch anybody coming around the top. Regret popping over, putting some shots down range. Captain Catman definitely is going to be aware of at least 2 players pushing down here. He feels compelled to blow up his C4, but they were actually pulling back under the cover fire. Flash coming out. He's going to check and see no one, leaving himself probably a little confused there. Thrown C4 coming out just a little too early here. The main push from Prestige just now coming in now. Should see some fire from Regret and Ace of Spades here. If he's not careful, he's going to get shot from the side, and this kind of spot I think has always been very, very powerful. Murphy picking up Regret, JX Keller trying to come forward, get that refrag, but Ace of Spades able to take out Keller and also Dr. Dangle at the same time.
Well, as we have discussed and we've seen here, this is like sand. It can be one of those maps where things just fall apart really, really fast. That was close up until the very last moments, and then suddenly people were dying left and right.
This spot in general seems to be really dangerous. I've seen a lot of people die trying to push up from this spot and get that kind of that last hump over to the other side, you know, where the objective is.
Yep. Yep, and that's what a lot of teams, they'll create their fire lines around that, because I think everybody has picked up on that at this point. So you can be very, very cautious, do everything right, even throw some smokes out, and then the moment you start crossing into those lines, you just get mowed down. And it's one of those situations where we're just waiting for a meta to emerge, see who can figure out how to beat that strategy.
Right. It's also tough, like, a lot of the time is, hey, I know defenders are going to be in this spot, therefore I'm going to grenade it before we go into the danger zone. But there's a lot of the boxes there can provide cover for players. They see a frag coming in, or they expect a frag, and they can jump into the box and probably be covered from it. It would take a really accurate throw, and then if you do that, you hit your frag on the side, you're not going to be hitting the back of the boxes, which is another spot they could be. So all in all, a really tough spot to play into, and even some utility like smokes will be difficult to use there, as it kind of funnels you in and allows the defenders to shoot you when you come out of the smoke.
Exactly.
Jump into round 5 here. Prestige gonna have to take the win here, otherwise Murphy's Maniacs will run away with map 1 here, and they will have to play from behind and try and take map 2. Limbowski just barely making it past the likes of Lunch Lady. Now Tricky trying to get that refrag, but Lunch Lady pulling over to this other side and choosing not to re-peek. Probably a very apt move, considering that Murphy's Maniacs are going to work together there. Ooh, Captain Catmint, nice shot onto Lunch Lady. Comes out ahead on that engagement.
Oh, Keller's about to get ambushed underneath this catwalk. And there it is.
Was he flashed there?
I'm not sure. I know he was priming a grenade, though. It went over the railing, from what I remember.
Yeah, I saw it go right over. Regret here trying to pull double duty here, covering the side that Limbowski and Ace of Spades are taking control of, using a smoke to try and stop Captain Catmint from pushing up at the same time here. Limbowski taking out Dr. Dangle. The objective, Limbowski falling down from the deck here, getting a little bit too aggressive on this push. Tricky picking up Regret, and Murphy's will take map number 1.
And I have to say, I'm a little surprised that a timeout wasn't called by Prestige to go and get a reservist or something. And in a match like this, 4v5 is a pretty big deal. I don't know, maybe we'll see that come out for this next map, but going through a match against a competent team at your level without a person, that's an uphill battle if I've ever seen one.
Right, yeah, it's very tough to play from behind like that. Numbers often mean everything. But here's a map where you could see a little bit more rotations and some sneaky plays from a team like Prestige. Get those picks and even it up with before you commit the main push in quarantine. I know I asked this of you a lot, but it's been a while and we've got to play it on it for a while. Do you still like the changes that happened to quarantine? Do you miss the old one as far as like being a competitive map goes? Would you change anything or anything like that? Anything that comes to mind?
I like the new version of quarantine. On the other hand, I've always had this mentality of, like, if I get a beta version or some option of testing out a new version of a piece of software I use all the time, I always just upgrade because I know chances are very, very good it's just going to be the next version anyway. And I take the same kind of attitude about maps. Unless there is something just truly egregious, I just feel like, okay, I'm going to adapt to this. And I feel like I did that with Quarantine. I liked the changes to begin with, but even if I didn't, it doesn't really matter because we're going to have to play them anyway. This is just a new version of Quarantine. So, long story short is that, yes, I like the new version, but I'm also not going to fight back if this is just a version we have to play on.
Right. There was definitely a lot of upset people about losing the old Quarantine, and it was a classic map, I will give you that. But I like this version. I like it a lot more, especially in a competitive sense. I think as just like a comp map, the old Quarantine was a lot of fun. But I think this one has a lot more promise and interesting dynamics. A lot less just people peeking out from burning, for example, on the stairs, stuff like that. Some really cool stuff like the underground car garage, stuff, you know, stuff like that we didn't have before. And definitely
Impact
more
building.
stuff going on. Yeah, it's a very dynamic map and with a lot of different things for teams to take advantage of. So, but
Yep.
we are going to jump into round one here, getting started. One of the new objectives as well, the one on Split Street. I haven't really got to see this one played out much. I'm really excited to see how they do play this one out. It looks like Dr. Dangle here actually has an air drone and a Mark 17 sniper with a 2x.
Interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen him with a sniper loadout.
Yeah, trying to pull something new and interesting out. And, you know, having a 2x for that that rooftop across the way on Hospital could be very advantageous. See the little bit of a head popping out and able to get that quick shot. Meanwhile, for the rest of the team, we got Regret and JX Keller in the crash building, getting that one completely unopposed. Murphy's Maniacs holding tight on the Hospital for the most part for their defense. And one player in the South Dunes ready to catch anybody, doing a far rotation around the east side.
Yeah, that Southern Dunes position is very powerful. You can kind of just peek your head and your gun over the edge of the dunes, and Tricky is keeping as much distance as he can from the edge of that dune that he's looking down. So it'd be extra challenging. Already shots.
I shot the drone.
I think he's shooting down the drone.
Yeah, he did. Really good rotation from Tricky there. Lunch Lady actually looking up and over the ridge there when that drone went down, looking for Tricky. But Tricky's rotation will save him and definitely slow down Lunch Lady, who expects him to be somewhere around that area. And this far rotation from him might actually pay off.
Yeah, well, he also has Lembowski reinforcing his position on the opposite side of the dune. So even if Tricky goes down, they'll have control over that area to some degree. Although if they take the dunes away from Tricky, Lembowski will have somebody with higher ground above him. But either way... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, Lunch Lady is so far from the rest of his team. If anything happens to him, he's going to be in trouble.
Yeah, no chance for a
Whoa.
refrag. Yeah, I understand the logic there because they don't want everybody going in the same direction, but if he goes down, that's pretty rough for them. And you can see, again, Prestige working with a 4v5 disadvantage. They're being very careful, trying to catch anybody that's peeking and giving away information. And in this context, I understand why they would bring a drone, because just having that information is so valuable for them right now.
Ace of Spades rocking a 4x, it looks like. Or is that just the weird red dot? I think that's what it is because it looks like he has an AKM or AK-12. Smoke coming out on the top of. I think we saw an M203 smoke onto the hospital roof to stop that really strong spot from the doorway, stopping across towards gas station. I love that. We actually have one on this side as well, so we got good smoke coverage on both sides.
That was an excellently placed smoke because it blocks the most powerful position on hospital. Oh, and Doctor evens it up now. 4v4 when he takes down Murphy inside the hospital.
They're going to have to continue the aggression, though. Only 2 minutes left on the clock, and they got to take control of the hospital building here. Regret just about to come into contact with Captain Catmint. Comes out at just the right time, able to pick up Captain Catmint and continue his push. He is now pushing in towards the hospital right now. We're going to see if he is going to continue this push. Ace of Spades picks up Dr. Dangle. JX Keller is just right outside. They can hear they're talking. They're basically talking to each other at this point as JX Keller continues his push forward. No one really in a position to stop him, although Tricky is coming around to support the objective here. JX Keller, though, gets shots on target towards Tricky, but Tricky's quick aim able to come out ahead there. Now it's just up to Regret and Lunch Lady, who has come up into the tank courtyard. Regret picking up Ace of Spades. The hospital is now in control by Prestige. We're going to have to see what they do with it, though, and really, this could go either way.
Yeah, 2v2, so numerical disadvantage no longer a factor. It's just a matter. This is what makes this objective kind of spicy because you have to cross a lot of open ground to get there. And if you've got the south side locked down, it gets pretty challenging. Oh, Lunch Lady with a really nice shot onto Tricky on the dunes.
Nice takedown. That was beautiful. Like you were saying, they just played it methodically. They used pretty much all the time they had left there.
Yeah, we were at about 30 seconds when that ended, so very close.
Flea caught that there. Yeah, Lunch Lady just getting that shot around the corner there, then coming around the side, getting the last player in Lebowski in that kind of back administrative building. What a beautiful play from Prestige.
Yeah, and Lunch Lady with just a real threading the needle moment, taking out Tricky on that dune. I can tell you from experience, I know you've experienced this as well, it's hard to hit people when they're on that dune. They know how to manage that edge. You don't see that much, and they can shoot down on top of you. And he got Tricky from near ambulance, so that was, yeah, very, very nice shot and just a vital moment for them. And it opened up the rest of the South so they could clinch that round.
Yeah, they just appear like a little head, and their gun is sticking out right in front of it, and you have such a small slice to shoot while they can see probably most of you. So really beautiful shot, just like you said. And then following that up with some well-timed 20 seconds left on the clock aggression, knowing that they had to push forward and they got to win then and there, because a cap really wasn't on the in the cards for that one. With such little time left, they had to get the kills, able to eke that one out just before the timer took their win away from them.
And it looks like Prestige now has the Gentleman 15 on their roster, so from this point forward, hopefully we will have a 5v5 on every round.
Exciting stuff. Definitely interesting to see how well they did from a 4v5 situation, but a 5v5 is what we're looking for in a good game of Onward. So this will be much more well suited, and either of these teams really could come out ahead. Murphy's Maniacs, if you're just jumping in now, up one map to Prestige right now. Prestige 1 point on the board for Quarantine, and we'll have to see what happens from here.
Looks like we're getting a 2-1-2 split. 2 going north, 2 going south through the east, and then 1 going through the middle.
Tricky getting quite aggressive here, pushing up just behind the mall. He's gonna have to be careful though, because he's got Dr. Dangle just prone on the other side here. Trading fire with Murphy, both players going down. Neither team gonna know what exactly just happened in that exchange, and Lunch Lady will have to deal with this strong push from the likes of Murphy's Maniacs.
What's interesting here is that Tricky already in the mall. So he's getting quite close. I mean, he's not on objective. Oh, Lunch Lady takes out Captain Catmit in the south. So that takes out that offensive piece. It looks like Tricky is now, as I was saying, that rotating to maybe try and get some kind of refrag.
It's going to be tough. Lunch Lady holding very, very tight on the rock here, not jumping over the top side, just forcing the enemy team to come to him, right? Ooh, he just popped out there, just missing Tricky. Maybe spotted him out, though. Let's see what the rest of the team is doing in Lembaski and Ace of Spades as they move forward towards the gas station. Nobody with to contend with there, but the gentleman might be able to get a good pickup from this kind of upper windows in the hospital. It's just this cross in general is just so dangerous. He's got it 4 times though in Ace of Spades. He might be able to catch out gentleman here.
Move it. Go for it. I don't see anything.
He doesn't.
Just such a tough spot to root out. I think a lot of teams are now just pre-firing it because it's so hard to see whoever's in there without a scope.
Enhance. I don't see him.
Enhance. I know. It's like even with the enhancement, you don't see him. You're better off just firing regardless. Wow. Well, wait a second here. Wait a second. This is interesting. So Tricky getting real close to objective. No one sees him. He is on objective.
Oh, gentlemen, though, might catch him out here. Chopping down Lunch Lady, just stopping the cap there.
Wow. That was close. He almost had that right underneath their noses, but that last second adjustment saved them. Nice defensive play.
Gentleman nearly team killing right at the end there. That said, Lembaski and Ace able to push up a little bit as everyone was quite distracted by that near cap regret being picked up by Lembaski. Gentleman's going to have to defend the inside of this hospital here. Taking fire, Ace of Spades able to get a nice shot with the M16 A4 and 4 times there. And now he's going to continue pushing forward and threatening the backside of this cap.
Yeah, it should be a little concerning for them because they're so far away. Looks like they're starting to regroup.
Ooh, but Lembaski coming around the corner here, but that slow peek will cost him as Lunch Lady able to pick up the kill and bring this down to a 2v1.
And Ace of Spades going the same way.
Let's jump on him and see what he chooses to do. I find it hard to do CQB combat with a 4-time scope, but we'll see what he's able to do there.
He's going very slow. I'm assuming he just doesn't want to give off audio cues to anybody near him, which makes sense. But his larger problem is that there is somebody by the name of Lunch Lady looking directly at the angle he's thinking of peeking. It's also awfully close to that corner for that peek.
Take some shots at Lunch Lady, giving away his position, but Lunch Lady able to duck down and stay in cover here. Now pulling out, trying to get that peek, but Ace of Spades opting to go for a rotation here.
I'm just all alone in garage. I hope you don't need me.
Trying to distract Ace of Spades there, firing his gun out the window and singing some kind of sing-song.
Just threw his drum out the window.
Might actually cost him because if he comes around the corner here, able to shoot Lunch Lady in the side, would force Keller to do a risky rotation and kind of run straight at him through that little side door. But he doesn't have much time left, only 40 seconds left on the clock, and he still has a lot of ground to cover, especially if he wants to go silent like he is right now.
And the defenders have no incentive to look where he's coming from either. They can just watch the angles that are required for crossing to get to the objective. I mean, just fine. Lunch Lady in a very good position if they accurately guess that Ace of Spades is coming from hospital. 20 seconds. At this point, even if he takes out Lunch Lady, he's going to be hard pressed to get a cap. And Lunch Lady is definitely going to hear him now.
I think so. Doesn't check the corner there. Lunch able to pick that one up. Ace of Spades not able to pull his gun on target in time, and Prestige will pick up another point.
Ooh, and I think Prestige might have had a drop that round. I don't know if that was in round or not, but Regret just rejoined, so we will have a 5v5 still.
Nah, he died. He
Okay.
was in hospital near the front. Got taken out. I think a little bit before that, a little tricky cap business happened.
Ah, gotcha.
What a spicy cap attempt. I just want to say, by the way. Just
Yeah.
run right on it. He's like, I think I will. Thank you.
Yeah, just the gall, if I will say, to just run in there and try and cap like that. He almost did it. Tricky, known for his fast caps in many ways. And he had timed it pretty well, just missed it by a second or two, and would have had 2 points right under the noses of Prestige, but they wisely rotated their angles onto the objective again and caught him before he could punch that in.
Yeah, good objective sense to make sure you're looking back and checking that every so often for those real ballsy attempts like we saw just then.
Yeah, it's something, I mean, we've even experienced this playing at our level where like everybody's looking out and nobody has eyes directly on objective, even if you're right next to it. And unfortunately, that can leave you open to caps.
It definitely can. There's some painful kiosks in my past that haunt me to this day.
Same.
Moving on, we are now doing the tank objective. Kind of interesting one for sure. I don't know. This one's kind of weird in that it's really far forward, but at the same time it's pretty defensible. It's just kind of when you lose those flanks that you really have to start worrying, because they can come from all sorts of different angles and put a lot of pressure on the main defender that you see Murphy playing right now in the mall itself. Limbaski picking up Regret. Let's jump right on over there and see if there's any more combat between Gentleman and Limbaski here. Limbaski also wounded. Tricky picking up Lunch Lady on the other side. Gentleman, though, able to come around the top side, picking up Limbaski, and Captain Catman is now going to have to worry about someone over the top behind him and straight in front here. He's kind of really exposed.
Wow, the thing about this objective is, oh, Gentleman takes out Captain Catman as well, and a refrag fest going on right now. Tricky takes out Gentleman. Now 2v3 in favor of Murphy's. But this is an objective you have to take risks to either attack or defend. Murphy, if she wants to have visibility onto the objective, has to put herself into that position where you can be seen from center burning and north and even from the south. And likewise, if you want to run on cap, you've got to get out in the open in that courtyard somehow. So it's a bit of a dice roll getting close to the objective for both sides.
Yeah, it's kind of this weird one where it feels bad to both attack it and defend it at the same time somehow. I don't even know how, but it does.
I'm gonna group up with you.
Yes, what a magical combination that is. Tricky in a very good controlling position if JX Keller continues on his current path, though.
Yeah, they are in a tough... Well, never mind.
Yep.
Dr. Dangle
Never
able
mind.
to pick him up and save JX Keller's life, basically, as he would have been exposed on that rotation he just did towards the hospital.
Now it just comes down to who wants to make that first move. Are the defenders going to rotate and try and catch somebody as they come in, or are they going to play more passively and let the aggressors get close, take that risk?
Definitely a lot of questions for both sides You can see Murphy's Maniacs are having to make some tough decisions on how they're going to defend this objective with only 2 remaining. Ooh, grenade launcher coming in, just narrowly missing Murphy on the inside there, forcing her to pull back, pulling Ace of Spades closer to objective in the meantime, and this kind of leaves an opening if she doesn't come back and watch through the front here.
I also wonder if there's an accurate kill count on either side because there were just so many refracts going on earlier.
Yeah,
I'm
both
not
sides
sure.
probably think they're in a 2v3 situation.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
Murphy's just coming around the corner here. If she comes forward, she might be able to catch a rotation, but I think they've basically made it across now. Let's see, Ace of Spades. What are you
And
doing,
they're
Ace of Spades?
Ooh, wow.
Ace?
So
Oh,
Ace
no.
of Spades just saved his own life unknowingly by running out of that position. He was about to have 2 rifles faced directly at him while he was looking away, but he decides to go towards APC instead.
Looks like he's just done with this and he's leaving. It's like,
Yep.
let me get in my car and get out of here. I'm missing my meeting. He's changing the tire right now.
Well, it's stuck in the sand, so he's got a long day ahead of him.
Let's check in on the rest of this push, and they're actually pushing
Murphy
into
and Keller.
objective here. Oh no! A trade comes out. Now he has to make a choice. Is he going to go for the objective, or is he going to go for the res? And it looks like he will go for the res. They are now pushing in here, very aggressive. They know they have the advantage here. Ace of Spades is going to have to do a lot of work here to pull this one back.
In a pretty, I would argue, kind of unorthodox position to defend from as a last defender. But I'm not even opposed to it at this point. I think if he just gets a little wider, he can see any potential cap position. I don't remember. Can you cap from inside the mall here?
I don't think so. I think you have to come out a bit. JX Keller trying to go up on the objective. Shots fired into that, but just hitting the objective itself instead of picking up Keller. And unfortunately, that's going to cost him his life and give Prestige point number 3.
Really came down to the wire on that one. But, yeah, well-executed attack by Prestige.
I'm going to be honest. I actually really like that last man defense spot. As long as you know that they were both behind the mall and that they couldn't kind of sneak up from behind the tank from North Road, you have a really strong spot to at least get a pick and then push back across or just force them to rotate. And at which point, when you kind of surmise that, hey, they're going for a rotation, you can also rotate back onto objective and get into another ambush position. It's just unfortunate that he wasn't able to get that pickup onto Dangle when he was on the backside of Mall there, as he just slipped around the corner as he tried to shoot him.
I'm looking around the objective right now. I'm just trying to think to myself if there's any real weaknesses there. But if you can't cap from inside the mall, I have to agree. I thought it was kind of a funky spot, but if, like you said, within context here, it makes sense. If you know that they have to go through the mall, they're in the south, it's not a bad angle to hold. There's not really a spot where they can just sneak up on you and cap. They're going to have to expose themselves one way or another. So, yeah, it's cool. I mean, even in bronze matches, you can learn something.
Yeah, I think that he would have to come outside, and there is a wall that's kind of in the way. So maybe not next to the wall itself for the last defender, but more like the APC. Something like that where you can kind of see around the angle there and at least catch them coming out of the doorway.
Sure.
Because if they go to the doorway, then go to the corner, it looks like it'd be bad news bears for you, but it's a pretty tough little run to make there when you have your gun on the door there just waiting for movement.
Yeah, I have to attest. I think you're right. It looks like it's reasonable, but I'm not 100% sure if you're on that corner you can cap. It looks reasonable to me. And if that's the case, I agree with you on that.
This is one funky objective one way or another, that's for sure.
Yep.
Hey, I need more oxygen, so I do it.
Get some drums coming out from Murphy. Always nice to have the 100 rounds versus 30 in a standard magazine. Gives you a lot of opportunities to put some limited cover fire for the rest of your teammates, or just continue pushing an aggressive push, not having to worry about a reload and getting caught by a repeat from the defenders, or getting caught out in the open while you do that kind of reload. Lembowski nearly getting caught out by the likes of Regret here as he pushes over to Burning, able to get in there without nary a scratch, maybe on his body armor, maybe not, but he will take control of the Burning there and will be able to possibly provide pressure from there on any of these players like Regret or Dr. Dangle. Tricky, though, in the thick of it, fighting off Lunch Lady and Gentleman, who are both pushing up onto his position. He's got the high ground there, but Gentleman with a nice pickup, able to take him out and give them complete control over the hospital.
Ace of Spades picks up Lunch Lady. So once again down to a 4v4.
Regret picking up Lembowski as he tries to push up there. Kind of funny because Gentleman was firing in that direction, but it wasn't him who got him. I was like, wait, how did he get that shot? But no, it was somebody else there. Murphy getting the finishing touches on that body. Very interesting. Murphy's Maniac seems to like to use a lot of these kind of smokes to try and kind of block the vision, but also maybe like blind them. Ooh, JX Keller picking up Lembowski there from the mall itself. Gentleman running out along the top side, kind of similar to Tricky last game, maybe get a shot onto Ace of Spades.
Okay, so this might get ugly if Dangle... Oh, Dangle's checking now. I was going to say, he was looking north originally as Murphy was moving in. And that was leaving a wrinkle there, but she gets picked up. The Gentleman gets Ace of Spades.
Captain Catmint, though, gonna have to do some work here. Dr. Dangle pretty far from objective. Will give him an opportunity to push forward. If he can get a shot onto Keller and miss, not get taken out by Dangle here, who is doing a good job of using his position to still support the objective there, even though he's quite far away. Now he's got throwing down a smoke, give him some opportunity to get across there. But Captain Catman is looking for that, narrowly missing him. Dr. Dangle popping around, getting the refrag onto Captain Catman, and giving them the 4th point on map number 2.
And the Gentleman was downed on top of Hospital Roof in a position where he was not going to get confirmed. So that was basically the perfect place to give call-outs. And he was calling out Captain Catman as he approached. So it was going to be a tough fight for him regardless.
Now looks like we're jumping over to Subway. That was the quickest pick I've ever seen in my life. We'll see if they stay on this map or not, if they accidentally picked it. But Subway, possible map 3 here. A very fun one. Best map ever. Never should change, etc., etc. And also very, very awesome to see a 1-1 situation here. Both teams picking up one map here. Murphy's Maniacs on USS Quest, Prestige on Quarantine. And this last map here, Subway, is for all the marbles.
I love when teams pick Subway for a decider. I mean, I just enjoy playing and casting Subway in general, but when the stakes are high is when the best plays on Subway come out, in my experience. So I'm quite happy that they made this decision.
That's very true, and it's because Subway's the best map.
It's just science.
Yeah, I agree. Science and Subway start with the same letter.
Mm-hmm. It's not a coincidence, folks.
Let's throw this on here. Been seeing this a lot, actually. I don't know if everyone could see that on the mini-map there before I got the 3rd map on there, but we will be starting with Chinatown. Not the only objective up top anymore, considering the new objective kind of in the middle street area just near South Stairs. But nonetheless, definitely plays a lot different from most of the objectives on Subway, which take place on the 2nd kind of level with the platforms and the tunnel kind of objective all the way to the bottom in the basement. So see how these teams play this one out. A lot of tight lines, a lot of kind of opportunities for those flanks if you have time left, but you have to kind of make those choices as there's some of these rotations are really long. For example, like north hallway and what have you.
Exactly. That's my favorite map too.
Regret. I want you to eat some.
All right, looks
This
like
is
we
the
have
best
a.
map. Sorry, I
it
was
just
responding to
is.
them.
Oh. Looks like a south stairs spawn. Already Tricky and Ace of Spades at the top of the south stairs and making their way towards the horseshoe.
I just want to point out too that no map looks as cool and tactical as Subway does. You see Tricky here watching forward, Ace of Spade just kind of watching back as they both push up, both kind of close but not too close at the same time. It just looks and feels awesome. I mean, look at these kind of supporting lines you see from these two players as one defends the back, one watches forward, and they just continue to push kind of in this leapfrog motion. It's just so awesome to see.
Ooh, and Lunch Lady on the stairs leading up to the south alleyway. You know, one thing I've noticed, I was looking at all the players on Prestige who are on the normal roster, and none of them are wearing night vision.
Interesting. This is one of those objectives that's kind of light out there. Gentleman picking up two in North Alley. Wow, that was an aggressive push.
Yeah, the gentleman, a reservist, is wearing night vision. Everyone else free of night vision. Like you said, it's a lighter objective, so I can understand that to some degree.
Tricky able to push across here, getting kind of past the lines that they expect him to come around, just barely missing Dr. Dangle as he kind of shot around the corner here. I think just trying to force the enemy team to kind of pre-fire in response, give their position away. Frag coming around the top there, just narrowly missing Dr. Dangle. Tricky opting to jump down through the bottom of this horseshoe to see if anyone's hiding down there, and getting a great angle to try and stop Dr. Dangle if he continues to peek around this corner.
Prestige playing pretty disciplined, too. I think a lot of teams, if they had this kind of kill count, and I'm assuming they have an accurate one since they haven't lost anyone, might start sending flankers, but they're daring these last two players to come into them, which is the smart move in this situation, in my opinion.
Right, and they already know that the frag came out from at least one of these players. Tricky there, not able to pick up that kill. JX getting the... ooh, nice pickup from both of these players, JX Keller and Dr. Dangle, finishing out this round, giving Prestige 1 point on the board.
And a dominant defense, 5 up for Prestige on that one. On a deciding map, it never feels good to have a round like that, so we'll see how Murphy's responds.
It was unfortunate that I didn't actually catch it, but in the North Alley, 2 players got taken out at the same time. I think both decided to crest the corner at the same time there and superimposed over one another, giving Prestige a juicy target, just firing straight down the line and picking up both of them.
Yep, and Gentleman was just in that little corner right behind objective where the Yoshi sign is. So if you are standing in a straight line with a teammate and there's a defender right there, you guys are going to get taken out real quick. I didn't see it either, but I'm assuming that's what happened considering how quickly those kills came out.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate peaks there, but really kind of Subway has those kind of long, dangerous sight lines that you have to deal with, and at some point you do have to take your chances and expose yourself if you're going to continue pushing forward and applying aggression. Probably trying to take the load off the rest of the push coming from the south and give them some breathing room so they could push in. You said Gentleman was a reservist, right?
That's correct. He is not on the Prestige roster. For anybody that's tuning in, later, like maybe recently, on the first map, it was 4v5 for the entire map. And then I think on the very first, it's either the first or second round of quarantine, they were still playing 4v5, and then the gentleman joined them.
I think, yeah, starting round 2 they had 5, or maybe it was round 3. I'm not sure.
I think you're right. I think it was round 2, but yeah, I don't fully remember either. So they have been playing 5v5 since he joined, and I don't think Prestige has lost a round since then either.
Definitely have the momentum. Murphy's Maniacs are going to have to blunt that if they're going to want to take this map. Got a strong push. 4 players strong going south, 1 player going towards the north. Just trying to catch any aggressive flankers that come down the north alley and let their south push do most of the work here.
Watch out, watch out.
Let's see how they choose to deal with this one. Subway's kind of that interesting map in that there's a lot of really typical defensive positions. For example, Tricky in this kind of side area that used to have a bed, but now doesn't. Way less comfortable.
Yeah, and same. You could see all these people in the south. They were checking, still looking on that garbage can, which is a common spot right next to the horseshoe.
Bottom right.
But Tricky has rotated, though. He is now waiting for any sort of peek. Grenade comes out. I don't know what kind that was.
Gentleman was talking to his grenade. He threw it way above like James would, and it was totally off. Ooh, regret picking up Tricky as he tried to throw a frag around the corner there. Not able to get anyone with that frag as he was taking out as he was trying to aim it over there, but good attempt nonetheless. And Murphy is going to have to deal with this gap in coverage. Tough position to be in for Murphy's. Or really not Murphy, sorry. I mean Prestige here. They now have to wait for the rest of the team to kind of group up and be ready for this push if they're going to push in together. Kind of some hesitation I'm seeing here. Dr. Dangle, Gentleman, and Regret kind of pushing along, going a different direction from the side that they already pushed in on.
Yep, and dealing with the south alleyway can get messy. So they have to take their time. They're pre-firing a lot of the common spots, as you can see with Regret with the LMG. And Lambowski and Ace of Spades just waiting for them.
C4 caught out by Gentleman there, saving both of their lives there.
Let's swing that right.
Oh, gets away with this rotation here. Regret coming forward. Regret is currently flash here. Ace of Spades trying to pick him up, but nice support from Gentleman will save his life and able to get that pick. And we go again. Another rotation. Frag around the corner and will not pick anyone up as the rotation has already begun.
And Prestige just playing mind games at this point because they are just bouncing back and forth, forcing Murphys to think about which angles they need to cover.
Operation Mind Games is a go for sure. They just keep bouncing back and forth, going kind of this pack. Captain Catmick trading fire with Regret. Neither player able to pick one another, but Regret now has control of this flank, picking up Murphy's Maniacs. But a nice frag from Captain, able to get Gentleman and able to pick up that kill.
That almost was much worse too. That grenade came right as they spread out a little bit. That could have potentially been a 2 or a 3K. Oh, but Lunch Lady coming in from the north.
Oh, he probably sees the gun there.
Oh
no. Oh no.
That was an unfortunate team kill.
Lembowski is going to have to stop this cap. He has to come around this corner. If he doesn't come around, Dr. Dangle will pick it up, giving Prestige yet another 2 points on the board, picking up that cap, giving them 3 on Murphy. Murphy's main... Gosh, that is hard to deal with. I'm thinking Murphy, the player Murphy, whenever I say Murphy's Maniacs, and then I want to stop. But it's Murphy's Maniacs, and I just... Maybe I should just say Maniacs. Maybe that'd be easier.
I think the mind games Prestige we're playing are working on you now.
I think so.
I don't even know what map we're on, what your name is, what life means. It's just terrible. But I have to say, I was like, the cap happened so fast. I was thinking to myself, okay, well, he's on the objective. This is a cap opportunity. Lambowski may check that corner. And I swear that tablet came out and it was just over. I didn't even have time to really process what was going on. But wow, that was so close. That team kill ended up being critical too, because they could have pincered there and instead Regret killed Lunch Lady as they came from the north. So got a bit lucky there that Lembowski didn't check the corner, because that very easily could have gone to Murphy's.
Definitely agree there. That team kill was unfortunate, but you know, sometimes that happens, and I think he wasn't really even aiming for anyone in particular. He was just kind of pre-firing any and anything that moved and allowing some kind of push from the rest of his team. Just unfortunately, Lunch Lady caught kind of in the crossfire there, or maybe a snap fire from him, but really good push nonetheless, and Murphy's Maniacs were really close to keeping that one back.
And it's just so tough when you're on the match-deciding map and you're down 3-0 after a cap, because now you have to attack, which is always more challenging. And yeah, it's just, this is where you have to dig deep as a team and figure out how to win, even though the odds are stacked against you. Because if they get this, then they can go into Volk and be on the defensive advantage. But they flat out can't drop this round.
They cannot, that's for sure, because if they do, they will lose the series.
And it is 5 people through the north. Dangle already pre-firing from his position in the south. And Murphy returning the favor.
Lembowski already getting quite aggressive here, trying to stop both sides, able to pick up Regret, and then getting C4'd by JX Keller.
Oh, and Murphy's about to get an angle right on Dangle. He's looking away. There it is. Oh boy, Murphy in the west alleyway. You can cap from here without anybody seeing you. If Gentleman doesn't run in and check.
Go for the cap, go for the cap.
Oh,
Getting a
the cap
pickup
is...
on a Gentleman. Lunch Lady coming around the backside, able to pick up Murphy, and JX Keller picking up Tricky. And just like that, Murphy's is down to 1. Ace of Spades having to contend with the 2 players, and Lunch Lady of JX Keller. Well, plenty of time for some kind of rotation, but might be able to get this quick pickup on the backside here, and he does. Now he's pushing around the side. He now has control of this tight angle, and if Lunch Lady just peeks around this corner, he should have the advantage there. Looks like he's kind of low on ammo, though, as he's now scavenging for some kind of maybe utility to throw over the top there. Flash coming out. Now he's running in aggressive, checking this corner. Now he's in a different angle here, able to catch Lunch Lady as it comes around the corner. Wonderful pickup from Ace of Spades, giving Murphy's their first point on the board.
Wow, and what a rotation by Lunch Lady to come around the backside like that and stop the cap, because Murphy had picked off the Gentleman coming, who was on top of the south stairs, and Keller was on the opposite side. She could have just hung out behind that fence and Keller would not have seen it. Would have been a cap, but Lunch Lady came in and saved that. And then what a clutch shot by Ace of Spades there to save it. So Murphy's now has a pathway towards a comeback, but Prestige still for sure has the advantage here at a 3-1 on the deciding map.
Absolutely, but all it takes is 1 cap after defense, and they will be coming out ahead if they do that. Or at least kind of tie it up. I just want to point out too that, yeah, that push that we saw at the end there was really beautiful. We saw, you know, him going back for that utility, try to get the advantage there, push forward methodically, even when he knew it was a 1v1, and checking all of his corners, making sure nobody was just down this kind of back alley, and then pushing forward and knowing that the last player was probably going to come from the alley there, able to get the drop on him with a beautiful shot on the lunch lady, and giving them that point. Really, really well done from Ace.
Great. And yeah, man, it's just so stressful to be in that position. It's a casted match. It's the deciding round. If you don't make that shot, your team goes home. And still made the shot when it counted. So it must feel good. And hopefully that'll be for Murphy's a psychological boost that they need to get back in the game.
Sometimes that's all it takes.
Yep.
Just one win, and they can come in with a fervor. So I'm really excited to see how they play this out. I already see a lot of excitement from them. Guys, stop it!
Yeah, we're on cast, people. We're on cast.
They're all like, I don't care. And Murphy's like, we got this. Tricky here, getting quite aggressive, getting a pick on a JX Keller here, getting into a good defensive position in order to stop any more aggression coming out of this side. And now it's going to be tough for them to kind of push them back. And he's got all the rounds to continue checking these corner peaks or shoulder peaks from Prestige. Defensive smoke coming out, forcing them to come in blinded if they want to continue pushing on that corner. Meanwhile, Lembowski making sure nobody comes around this kind of backside here, and Prestige is just kind of like stuck in place.
That first kill, I think, just shocked them because they were not expecting somebody to show up and take that person out. So now they have to regroup. You had mentioned before that Murphy's likes to use smokes that way. That was, I would say, a well-placed smoke because it gave him the position he needed to rotate, and he can just shoot through and hit that corner so nobody peeks it. That now funnels the offense into the south.
Speaking of Lembowski here on the corner, kind of just sitting here and waiting with his clacker here, trying to get a C4 kill. Not quite sure where he has it here. Coming around the corner, getting a trade on Gentleman. No C4 will be happening today, as the clacker man has been taken out. Murphy now having to look back on this and make sure nobody is able to get this, but Regret and Dr. Dangle opting to again go for a rotation. Very, very, very fond of those rotations from the likes of Prestige.
Yeah, we'll see if we see another guerrilla warfare campaign by Prestige. All right, so they're using... Oh, go ahead.
It's going to be tough for Tricky to pop out and push these aggressors here, as the suppressive fire is coming in right on his position. Good memory from Regret, knowing where Tricky generally was, somewhere on that kind of left side of this alley, and using his machine gun to give Dr. Dingle the cover he needs to push forward. Smoke coming out. Now Tricky is really stuck in that corner. Regret really doesn't like him.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice shot from Regret onto him. Probably doesn't even know he got it. Fred coming around to the corner. Regret just narrowly pulling out in time before he gets taken out. His second utility coming out in a flash, but Ace in such a position that he can't really push and use that to his advantage.
Yeah, that grenade just needed to be cooked a little bit more because it gave Regret and Dr. Dangle too much time to run away. If that had been cooked a couple of seconds, that was potentially a double kill.
Ace of Spades trying to just push them back with some pre-fire, but they're already gone. They're pushing into the market here, hoping to come from a different angle, but Murphy is actually pushed up back into this corner that Lembowski had, and is kind of bouncing around the alley there. But Dr. Dangle coming up hot, and if they're not careful, he's going to come around and get a nice shot onto Murphy. Murphy not able to get her gun up in time. Regret now taking the corner, giving Dr. Dangle an opportunity to push, but he runs out of ammo just at the wrong time here, having to get that reload in, and Dr. Dangle going around for a push around the other side.
We're seeing that same strategy of bouncing from one side to the next. And it must be really disorienting for the defense because they have to keep thinking about where they are going to defend now.
Yeah, definitely, definitely true. Ace of Spade coming around the corner here, trading with Regret. Regret will be revived though for his team, and now Murphy's is down to 1. Captain Catman is gonna have to clutch this one. Having to worry about anybody coming around the backside as well, going for a cap. Nice shot from Captain Catman, getting the shot onto Dr. Dangle's team here, but Dr. with a tight rotation, able to get the pickup onto Captain Catman, giving them the win.
Oh, and Regret saying that he ran out of ammo. He ran out of ammo in his LMG, and then he picked up a G36 and ran out of ammo for that. That's when you know your support player has been putting down a lot of covering fire.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen someone spend that much ammo in a league match. Yeah, a lot of suppressive fire coming out of him.
Well, that decides it. So Prestige takes the match and takes Subway in commanding fashion, although there were certainly some close rounds.
Yeah, I think that one was getting really close too. I think that Murphy's Maniacs were starting to adapt to Prestige's style there. They were going to get really close. At the end there, we kind of saw that there was only 3 players left, but they were all kind of in the same place. Captain Catman in a good position to kind of stop them from that aggression. It's just that really quick rotation around the corner as soon as his friendly died was able to secure Prestige that win. Let's see. I don't even remember where the highlights are, but that's okay. We don't need those anyway. Do you have any kind of closing thoughts on those matches? It was definitely a rocky start, especially for Prestige coming in with 4 and having to play that one out. And Murphy's Maniacs playing so well on USS Quest, able to take that win from Prestige there in a pretty commanding fashion 4-1.
Yeah, I don't really have much more to add. I will say, playing a 4v5 and losing that map like that, a lot of teams, even if you keep in mind the 4v5 disadvantage, just psychologically, it's really hard to deal with. So hats off to Prestige for bouncing back and just sweeping the rest of the series. Yeah, it was an entertaining match to watch, and I'm glad we casted it.
Absolutely. This has been Murphy's Maniacs versus Prestige, brought to you by me, Monorchid, and Theta. We'd like to thank the VR Master League for providing this format, to the teams, our moderators, our sponsors, you guys, and for just tuning in and watching this match with us live. Not sure if we have more matches coming. I think there's probably going to be, hopefully, more casts coming in tomorrow. We got a couple spicy matchups coming up. Do stay tuned for that, but have a good rest of your evening, everyone.